So if you didn't already know, The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom had a full art book leak recently. Online, there are pictures of locations, people, objects, mechanics, all sorts of stuff that you would see in an art book for a game that has released. So this art book comes from the special edition of the game, which I was able to get a pre-order of, so I'm very excited about that. But I think that the biggest thing here that I took away from all of the leaks and everything so far. Now, I didn't look through every single page of the art book leaks, but I looked through enough to sit back and say, wow, this is a leap, a super leap, maybe like a double leap over what we saw with The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. And if anyone was unsure of if this game is going to be a full step above or just like an expansion or DLC, like I said in my video recently, if you missed that one, I think that all of that notion is dead at this point, because you see a number of things without even playing it, and obviously there isn't everything from the game in the art book, but without even playing it, you see a number of really cool ideas and a number of things that's going to really turn the gameplay of what we saw of Breath of the Wild into something completely different. So I think that's the reason why people are really excited about The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom. But I also think that Nintendo is very upset about this leaking. Now, I've heard some things here and there that they're going to start striking channels that are showing The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom stuff. So I won't be showing any of the leaked artwork or the leaked pictures or whatever the case is. Like, I'm not showing any of that in thumbnails or anything, because I remember last time that I tried this, what was it, with Pokemon Sword and Shield. I did a live stream, did a video. Man, I got bodied. So I'm definitely not going to be doing that. But what I am happy about when it comes down to this, if there's one silver lining with this whole thing, is that The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom is going to be an exceptional game that really dramatically improves upon every single aspect of Breath of the Wild. And there were some doubts. There were doubts from lots of people out there. And I guess you can still doubt since it's just an art book and it's not necessarily the game. But I think that the 6 years of development and the fact that Nintendo just really took this long to wait is that obviously they want this to be a special experience. They want a lot of the ideas to be kept under wraps, even after they show more about the game. Like, I think that there's going to be a lot of stuff that was revealed in this art book that Nintendo does not talk about in a Zelda Direct or in an overview trailer. There's going to be a ton of things, because even leading up to the launch of Breath of the Wild, there were a number of mechanics and things in that game that was not revealed beforehand. They just kind of revealed some of the base stuff, but a lot of weapons and equipment and certain things was not revealed, which makes sense. You don't want to spoil the whole game, right? So it makes sense that they're not going to really talk about everything. But I think that this leaves no doubt at all when it comes down to it. But I wanted to address another thing with The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom. There has been some talk, I think, that people feel that Tears of the Kingdom isn't going to be able to surpass Breath of the Wild sales, because, I mean, look at it. Breath of the Wild was a behemoth for Nintendo, and in that franchise in particular, like, The Legend of Zelda has never seen this type of success before Breath of the Wild. Nintendo has sold nearly 30 million copies of The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild, and heck, it might already be that, because the last time that they updated the sales numbers, Breath of the Wild was at 29 million as of the end of December 31st of last year. And Nintendo recently put out a special promo for The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild, discounting it, and it shot all the way up on the eShop. So people are picking up the game in anticipation for Tears of the Kingdom. So that's January sales, that's February sales now, so it's probably bearing down that 30 million. And people think that that's such a huge number that Tears of the Kingdom won't be able to surpass. Now, I could have sat here confidently and said, yeah, it's going to pass it up even before the leaks. But now that I know a little bit more when it comes down to it, it's going to easily pass up The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. And I say that because you have a bigger install base that you're releasing it to. There's more hype heading into that, or there's going to be more hype heading into that, so more people will have access to the game right away compared to getting sales over the course of a whole generation. And on top of that, this game is going to bleed into the next Nintendo Switch. The next Zelda game isn't coming anytime soon. The next huge major Zelda game isn't coming anytime soon. Nintendo's definitely probably going to release like a patch or an update or something with the next Switch as well that really does help things out in terms of how the game looks or how it runs. I feel they're going to do that. And even if they don't, if it's just backwards compatible, which I think it's going to be backwards compatible as well, I think that game's just going to sell continuously on the next Switch. So you're going to have a combined install base until the next Legend of Zelda game comes out. So that 29-30 million, that's very good. That's obviously an incredible, a huge record for the Zelda franchise. But Tears of the Kingdom is going to take it down, and it's going to get there fast. It's going to get there faster than we think it is. And another reason why I think this is because of two separate games that came out recently on the Nintendo Switch, and that is Pokemon Scarlet and Violet back in November of 2022, and also Splatoon 3 back in September of 2022. People doubted both of those games as well as too similar, there's not enough, or there's issues, whatever the case is. And both of those games exploded to the point to where they're almost passing up the predecessor when it comes to like the major games. Pokemon Scarlet and Violet is already a top 10 selling game on the Nintendo Switch with 20 million plus units sold. It's going to catch Pokemon Sword and Shield very fast here at 25 million or so. And then also Splatoon 3 exploded to 10 million plus sales. Splatoon 2 is around 12 million, 13 million. So it's going to pass that up as well. Both these games are still in the top sales charts in pretty much every single region. So if you've got games like those two, which aren't going to be anywhere near as high as rated as The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom, exploding to surpass the predecessors, this is definitely going to happen with The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom. And I think that Splatoon 3 is a very good example because Splatoon 2 had sales across the whole generation because it came out at the beginning just like Breath of the Wild did. And we saw what happens when you actually have a large install base and hype heading into it. You just explode with the sales right then and there. So to me, it makes complete sense with all of that. But we're going to have to wait and see fully. But I would expect there to be some massive day one record-breaking sales for Nintendo with Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom. But I also want to get into some other things when it comes to this video, and that is Nippon Ichi Software. They've got a brand new RPG that they're teasing. Looks very weird. Got a very colorful looking character on screen here. So Nippon Ichi Software, they launched a brand new Twitter account, and this new Superpowers X Academy RPG, oh my goodness, is scheduled for the Nintendo Switch, PlayStation 4, and the PlayStation 5. And I guess that's the reason why I'm wearing my Hero shirt here. So they have a superhero RPG coming down here. I think that this could be pretty cool based off of just this short tease here. It looks like Nippon Ichi Software is trying something different with their RPGs. Now, I'm interested to see what this game is going to be. Nippon Ichi makes some awesome games on Nintendo Switch. They're the developers behind the Disgaea series, so they make a lot of great stuff. So I'm looking forward to seeing what Nippon Ichi does. They also publish a lot of the Falcom games like The Legend of Heroes and also Ys. So they've been a storied RPG publisher and also developer for decades now at this point. And now we've got a brand new RPG that looks really cool, enough for them to make a whole new Twitter account and also put up this tease here. And of course, PS4, Switch, and PS5 going to be very interesting to see exactly how the look of this RPG is. They make more of the AA style of RPGs, but their games have a lot of content in there, and I do enjoy them for the most part, especially their published stuff. But a in-house developed new RPG from Nippon Ichi Soft that looks like this is definitely interesting. So we're definitely going to keep tabs on this one and see where this ends up being. But I do want to see where something else ends up being here and kind of move into the next topic, and that is Pokemon Scarlet and Violet. Now, there's been tons of information about what's going to be happening with Pokemon Day and maybe a Pokemon Presents, but we also have a Pokemon Scarlet and Violet patch that's coming. We got a big upcoming patch that I definitely want to talk about because there's been a lot of discussion on this patch and what Nintendo and what the Pokemon Company Game Freak is going to do about fixing up some of the major issues that Pokemon Scarlet and Violet has. Now, there's definitely little bit of like two camps on this. There's one camp that feels that they're going to actually improve the performance a bit, and then there's another camp who feels that they're not going to. So I think that based off of what we've seen so far with what Nintendo has stated, or at least the Pokemon Company Game Freak has stated, it absolutely seems like there's going to be some performance fixes even in this patch right here that I'm reading. Now we have to once again wait and see, but based off of this, I want to go over some of the important parts of the patch here. Now it is long and it's mainly talking about bug fixes and crashes. These are the two things that are being addressed, and also features as well. So I'll have a cutout or a snippet of the feature adjustments. There's actually some really good things in here, especially if you're someone who's hardcore into the Pokemon and shiny collecting. Some of the box features just weren't up to snuff, so this is really going to help out with those people. So shout outs to the box features being updated. And also there's bug fixes with the Terra Raid battles. There's been issues there that I've seen people complain about, so it looks like those are going to be fixed too. There's battles and doubles and all sorts of stuff that's fixed up as well. But I think that another thing that kind of shows that they're looking at improving the performance is that in the other section it says this: we will address an issue that can cause the game to forcibly close at certain locations. As a result of this fix, there may be a reduction of Pokemon and people displayed in certain towns or in the wild. So I think that right there shows that they're looking at manipulating how many Pokemon are rendered in the distance and how many Pokemon are showing up in order to improve the game, whether that's crashing or that's probably just improving the game in general, because when you do that, you can probably get things to run a bit better. So that's what I'm thinking. Many of the times when I had issues in Pokemon Scarlet and Violet, I'd be out on the sea, for example, and there'd be a bunch of Pokemon just around me and it would cause the frame rate to chug. So if they're looking into removing some of the issues that can cause crashes, that can cause those performance drops and things, I think that that is part of what they're going to be doing on a large scale. Now they also, if you go all the way down on the notes section of the patch, they stated this: we are planning further features and bug fixes not listed in these patch notes. Please check back here for full details when the update is distributed. Update contents can also change as well. So I think that there's definitely some people that are worried that not enough is done in this patch, at least to address performance, but I'm not sure if Nintendo's going to outright say that completely, because they don't really say that even if they do in other games. I've never really seen that, or even Nintendo talk about performance or frame rate at all in anything. But I am hopeful based off of what they said here with reducing the number of people and Pokemon. It's causing the crashes and forced shutdowns, because I haven't had my game crash really that much, but anytime that I have, it's in some areas where there's a lot of stuff going on and there's Pokemon all over the place, and then it slows down, chug, 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 crash. So I'm guessing they're manipulating how many Pokemon are being rendered and what's going on screen in order to improve performance and also not cause the crashes the game was having or is having for some people out there. So we'll have to wait and see on this one, but I think that with 20 million units sold, Nintendo, the Pokemon Company, they need to absolutely do everything in their possible power to make sure that Pokemon Scarlet and Violet runs much better than what it runs right now at this point. I think that with Pokemon Scarlet and Violet, it was embarrassing to see all that different stuff and to see how much this game has sold. I mean, honestly, you don't want your product being displayed that way. Now, it's kind of cooled down a bit after the whole rush of the holiday season and Christmas and everything. I don't see as many clips and all of that. And it seems like the patch beforehand did fix some things, the small patch beforehand, but there's still a lot of work to be done, as you can see with these patch notes. It reminds me of like the Avengers back when that game came out and they had those huge patch notes. This is just so much stuff here, but we'll see exactly how it all turns out. But I'm hopeful that there are going to be some interesting and good changes based off of some of the stuff that I read here. And of course, more features being added in is always a welcomed thing. Make sure you guys check out the link in the description. I've got some more videos if you want to hear about the Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom, and also Pokemon Scarlet and Violet, and of course what RPGs are coming out this year that I'm excited about as well. Thank you guys so much for watching, and we'll catch you for the next one. Peace out.